Hello, welcome back to the PerpCast. I'm your host Ray, the social media and PR manager for Perp Games. This is the second episode of a new weekly show to show our further support to the wider games and virtual reality industry. Now, we promised we'd have some featured guests on the show from time to time, and I'm delighted to say that today we're joined by Polish Paul, the man with the freshest PSVR news in the village. How you doing, Paul?
Hello, yeah, I'm good. It's nice to be with you here and with all the Perp fans. Nice to chat about some of your games and some other VR stories.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us today, Paul. So each week we'll not only be covering what's happening in the world of Perp, answering your questions directly, but we'll also be taking a look at the wider world of VR and exploring how this emerging technology continues to grow. But before we get started though, it's very important to note that not everything you hear about during today's show means you're in any way affiliated with these titles, companies or individuals. Much like our role at the VR Game Showcase, we're exploring the wider possibilities, helping to spread the word, offering a new platform for some of the week's breaking stories, and most importantly, facilitating some discussion. Right, let's get all that out of the way. Let's mosey into the metaverse. So you may have seen this week that we announced that CoolPaintr VR will be getting a retail exclusive deluxe edition through Perp Games. We're actually creating a new collection which includes the Voxel DLC as well as some extra digital extras which include the digital art book Beyond the Limits, some exclusive wallpaper and some future exclusive content for deluxe version users. What do you think that might be, Paul?
Well, I don't know, but I'm sure they're gonna do something cool because they already added Voxel DLC, which I'm hearing is pretty awesome. So I'm assuming they still gonna be supporting it. And from what they did so far and added all the extra features after the release, we can just expect good things from them.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, CoolPaintr VR is kind of designed to suit all the audiences, so it works as a powerful tool for professionals, but also a game that offers a new form of immersive entertainment for everyone. You've got the 3D fields of expression that allow you to craft the VR world. You've got a vast range of tools, which include different plane and liquid brushes suitable for all users' needs, and advanced organic capabilities for daring adventures. And amazingly, it also runs at a consistent 120 frames per second, which is pretty darn awesome, I think. And it offers a visual cadence that is ultra precise and highly realistic, all without the fatigue. And I think one of the really cool features about CoolPaintr VR, I don't know how much you've played it, Paul, but the fact that you can use a USB stick to play your favorite music in there as well and kind of tailor a game to your interests and kind of the things that you most enjoy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how you can listen to your music. Very chilling experience as well while you're painting.
Yeah, and being able to upload the creations as well is so cool. I think that it really allows people to kind of just express themselves and kind of share that things with the rest of the world. I love that. CoolPaintr VR Deluxe Edition is coming to retail on PSVR on the 25th of October, so stay tuned for that. So let's go into some wider news because that covers Perp for this week. We've been chatting about this a little bit, Paul. Yeah. Let's start with Blood and Truth's DLC because obviously Blood and Truth is one of the biggest VR games this year. They've just added a hard mode, right?
Yeah, it's such a good game and they already added one DLC for free with some extra challenges and now they released this new DLC which not only adds challenges but also let you play them with your aim controller and that works for new ones and previous challenges as well. Plus you can do your story mode on a harder difficulty and get new trophies. So it's nice to see that they're supporting it. It's such a good game and they're giving it so much love. So I'm assuming just more people are gonna play it now.
Absolutely, and it's a free update as well, which is so cool. I mean, this is the kind of thing it feels like you could get this for paid DLC, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like that with many VR games as well. We just keep getting those free updates. Like lately we've had Angry Birds update, I think, and Cave Digger. So we always, like each month, somebody gives us more game for free, so it's great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the skeet challenges, I was kind of watching your channel and your videos recently, and I saw that you were having a bit of a competition with one of our fellow YouTubers out there.
Yeah, with Preacher, but his setup was better. Mine wasn't that great that day. Let's blame it on my lightning.
Yeah, because you've just moved into a new house, right? Congratulations.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, so definitely no blinds yet. So sun was shining. Sunny day in England that day. Not often happens.
It's very rare.
And and I couldn't just get my tracking right. That's my excuse anyway.
Yeah, and the skeet challenges look really fun as well because obviously you're kind of moving from point to point. Yeah. And I noticed one of the things you mentioned is that there was actual movement in Blood and Truth now, which was an addition, right, to the game.
No, I was thinking there is a movement because they let you use thumbsticks, but it's still on rails, so right. I didn't actually move in the end.
Yeah.
But it's still nice, it still felt great with aim controller. It's such a good controller, so definitely more immersive.
Yeah, and I guess it adds a new sort of dimension of movement to the game as well, and potentially, because whatever they plan to do next, maybe that's something they could look to incorporate in future games and maybe evolve further for the future. But it's nice to see that they're experimenting, which is cool.
Yeah, great of them. So yeah, definitely appreciate what Sony did, because the game is already awesome. So now we're just getting more of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say it's one of your games of the year so far, or is it too early to say?
Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a really good, cool game. So if you haven't checked out Blood and Truth yet, this seems like the perfect time to do that with the Skeet DLC and the hard mode. So that free update is available now for Blood and Truth. And another game that's got a massive free update is No Man's Sky. And this game just seems to continuously get huge free updates all the time. It's incredible, right?
Yeah, and it's one of the updates people requested the most, especially on PS4 and PS4 Pro, for PSVR.
Yeah.
Because the graphics, when it's still blurry, but the game is definitely looking a bit better at the moment.
Yeah.
Plus, of course, they said they're gonna release future updates as well.
Wow.
So, but for original PS4 to give them better graphics, definitely nice of them.
Yeah, I mean, the original game came out, I want to say 2016, potentially.
Yeah, I bought it on day one, and I was thinking oh no, it's not what I wanted, because it didn't have the greatest launch. But then after they announced that VR is coming, I started playing again, and this game had so many updates that it's just a great game now.
Yeah.
And it's so many different ways you can play as well.
Yeah, it's really versatile, isn't it? And I think they added multiplayer as well quite recently, which was another really high requested feature. So that's in VR. I imagine that's incredible.
Yeah, it feels great. I really like this game. So you can lose hours in this game. You can say, just gonna play for an hour before bed, and next thing you look at clock and it's 4 a.m.
Yeah, I've been there plenty of times for sure.
Yeah. Every week.
I guess that's a really interesting thing about No Man's Sky and games in general these days, is that free content updates are really sort of changing and transforming games for the better. And obviously a lot of people, as you mentioned, you touched upon earlier, that No Man's Sky perhaps didn't release in the way that people wanted it to originally, but now it's become almost an essential purchase, and that's after 3 years of the game launching. I mean, it's just incredible to think that updates can change a game so much and, transform it to something almost completely different.
Yeah, true. And especially for a small studio, they still small studio, Hello Games, to turn this game around like that. I saw people paying money for billboards to say thank you for them. So definitely everyone appreciates the updates, what they did.
Yeah, and I think it's a nice story. It's come around full circle, and it's nice to see the team has, they've managed to turn things around, and they've created the game that their fans wanted, and they've created a game that they're much happier with. It's a really cool, inspiring story in some ways, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool to see that the update is going really well, and it sounds like the improvements are continuing to come through on PSVR, and I'm very excited to see what kind of updates that No Man's Sky has in the future going forward. So
yeah, everyone waiting for PS4 Pro patch now.
Oh yeah, that'll be stunning, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, we'll jump on now to a new release this week. You mentioned that you've been playing a game called Witching Tower. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this week we've had 2 games, Groundhog Day and Witching Tower. But Groundhog Day I didn't have time to play, so I've been playing a bit of Witching Tower, and I enjoyed it. It's had a bit of issues like every new release sometimes, but definitely very nice. It's kind of like escape room game, very nicely designed puzzles. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Plus it played with 3D Rudder, which is been nice. Quite a good game.
How are you finding using the 3D Rudder with games out of interest? Because obviously, you probably well know that a few Perp titles do use that. CoolPaintr VR, which we actually mentioned earlier in the show, is actually supporting 3D Rudder, which is really cool.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah. How are they gonna do it?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, because you move around so much in the world, I guess, when exploring more thoroughly and just see more immersive in a sense, you kind of almost feel like you're walking around it. But how do you find you working using the rudder?
Yeah, it's not working with all of them for me, but most of them, if I can play with 3D Rudder, I definitely go for it, because then I can have my hands free and smooth locomotion. I don't need to do that pointing stuff with my move controller.
Yes, the early games definitely had a tendency to do that, and I guess that sort of we'll touch upon that a bit later on, because I wanted to chat to you about like how you see VR developing, and I think we actually have a question that relates to something similar to that, so we'll touch on that in a little bit. But with Witching Tower, I mean, like you mentioned, it's kind of like escape room style. I mean, is there a lot of puzzles to solve then, and is there a lot of things you need to do to kind of, I guess, escape the room.
Yeah, you basically going through a tower, like a medieval tower, and you're going from one room to another. You've got some puzzles there, and they're pretty well designed. They're not too hard, but also not too easy, so it's just like nice to solve them. And once you do that, then you go to another room. You got some combat, which I didn't really like, but definitely puzzles in this game. It's what got me playing it. It's kind of reminded me of Red Matter, but in medieval times. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
And I saw you were having a lot of battles with bats and scary dogs. There seems to be a lot of bats and scary dogs in that game. I mean, I like dogs. I hate having to fight dogs, but those dogs are particularly menacing. So, but that sounds really cool. So, I mean, Witching Tower, is that on all formats? Or
no, it was out on PC, I think, last year, and now they finally ported it to PlayStation VR. And also, I want to say, looks very nice on PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah.
Very, like one of them sharp games.
It's available now.
Yeah.
It actually sounds really interesting. They're the kind of games that I quite enjoy, like a good puzzle adventure game where you can kind of just explore, and I love a good fantasy medieval setting, so that definitely sounds right up my street. So I'll be keeping an eye on that.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll jump into some of the discussion. So we've had some chats before the start of the show on what we can talk about, and you've mentioned that one of your most anticipated games by your viewers is Gorn. What sort of feedback have you been getting on Gorn?
Well, from what I'm seeing on my comment section in my videos, every time I do a video, people just keep asking about this game, about Gorn. We've got so many good games coming, Iron Man and Sniper Elite, but Gorn seems to be taking the cake for everyone, because everyone seems to just be wanting this game. So for like what they're doing now is they porting PSVR port at the moment, and they said it should be out by the end of this year. So it's not that long to come, and Gorn, if you look at the footage, it looks quite simple. But there's also quite a bit of story to it and some cool boss fights. On PC, this game had so many updates. It's quite a big game now. We've got so many weapons. And the animations, of course, are hilarious. So it's gonna be nice just to poke somebody's eyes out.
Play with the eyes?
And then play with it, yes. So I think that's why people So I think that's why people just looking forward to it.
You've got me sold there. I can play with people's eyes, poke people's eyes out and play with them. That's me sold on Gorn now. I'm definitely getting on that. I can see why everyone wants to play. But no, yeah, because it was originally a PC game, right? So, and this is the PSVR port that everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah, because they wasn't going to do the port. I think they mentioned once that they can do the port, but then people been asking it so many times that they hired another studio to do the port for them. I think that's what happened.
So it's interesting to hear what people's sort of feedback is, because obviously there are, as you say, there are so many VR titles coming out now, and there are so many more games.
Oh yeah, so many good games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look back to the start of PlayStation VR, obviously there were a lot of titles, but there are more. It's become more and more frequent now to see big titles make their way out, and the amount of money that's been invested into projects. It's an exciting time for the medium for sure, and obviously with the new generation on the horizon, I mean, who knows where we go from here?
Yeah, exactly. It seems like there is more bigger games in development now, definitely. So there is plenty to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously you touched on Iron Man and things like that, with Concrete Genie around the corner. Another big one is that Golem is coming out as well. So I mean,
Oh yeah, I saw pre-orders already on.
Yeah. You can definitely find it in some places for sure. But it's a fantastic end to the year for PlayStation VR, no doubt, and VR in general. Obviously, Oculus Quest is really taken off as well, which we mentioned in the last week's show.
Oh yeah, I keep seeing from developers posting how well their game's saying on Quest. So I suppose congratulations.
Absolutely, yeah. It seems to me like, I think someone described it as the watershed moment for VR, and the fact that it's all wireless. It's massive for the medium. I think I'm very excited to see where we go from there. I mean, it's where do you go from there? It's
I know, yeah.
But VR is incredible. So and I'd say Gorn is definitely a great shout, and it's something that we're really interested to see. And if that comes the end of the year as well, then my goodness,
I know.
I'm not going to have any money left in my wallet.
Hopefully I get review copy.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you, right?
Yeah.
So obviously we've had a couple of fan questions. We threw this out to you to start chatting to us to see what you wanted to know more about from Perp, but also from our guest, Polish Paul. I'm going to put the spotlight on you now, PP. And so that guy is Will Asks. I think you know him, right?
Yeah. Hi, Will.
So he
don't talk to me, Will.
So Will asks, where do you see PSVR 5 years from now? And do you see yourself still making videos then?
Right, for PSVR, I think we obviously in 5 years' time we're gonna have new headset running on probably PS5. What I want to see in 5 years' time with PSVR is to have Borderlands 3 in VR.
Wow, yes.
That's my main wish. But I'm assuming Sony gonna release eventually a really good new headset. Addressing all the things people wanted them to do, higher resolution, better controllers, better tracking. I don't know if it's gonna be wireless or not, but yeah, that's where I see PSVR. And for me, if I'm gonna be making videos, I don't know, possibly.
I mean, yeah, I suppose that's a good question. What got you into to PSVR or VR in general? I mean, you were starting right at the beginning of VR.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what actually inspired you to make a channel about it?
I just made one video, and it was not that great, but I just made it about the game that was quite bad. And it's got loads of views and loads of comments. So I was thinking, oh, right, I might as well just start doing this then. And that's how it started, really.
Yeah. I won't ask you to name what the game was.
Oh, yeah. Don't.
But I mean, it's, because obviously you've been doing this for a long time now, and your channel has been growing for a long time now, and it's so great to see your growth. And obviously, I mean, what
do you... it keeps me going.
Yeah, I mean, what is it, do you think, that's been keeping people coming back to your videos, and what have you been doing to kind of like entice people to come back and grow your subscriptions?
I have no idea, because most of the time I don't even know if everyone can understand me properly.
You sound perfectly, mate. It's fine.
But I don't know. I suppose they want just to see more PSVR stuff. So, they want to learn more about it. I've had some people coming to channel who didn't have PSVR, and after watching a few videos, they decided to buy it.
Nice.
Got some people who just want to hear some news about their games they cannot wait for. So I think it's just a mix. Plus, we always have a laugh on my channel.
Absolutely. Yes, you do. You absolutely do. We've had many a laugh in the office in a good way.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. I'm so glad to see that your channel's been growing so well, and it's nice
Thanks.
to see that you still envisage yourself having support for PlayStation VR and VR in general in the future. So that's really cool to hear.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's awesome.
So I guess we've got a couple more general questions now. So our good friends at Game Telford have asked, with Box VR and VR Ping Pong Pro coming this year, what other sports do you think could work in VR? So we had a chat in the team about this. I mean, that there are so many opportunities for sports in VR. We think we love the idea that people through any age, disability, or number of reasons can participate in sports, and you can have almost really extremely lifelike experiences. As to what could work, I mean, what couldn't work? I mean, I think we've seen football games in VR now.
Oh yeah, 2MD football. I was thinking when I saw it, like, how it's gonna work, and it works great, and it's such a fun game.
Yeah, it's quite exhausting though, isn't it? It's a lot of walking
definitely.
around. Yeah, it's a good workout.
Loads of throwing stuff.
Yeah. And I guess, as you say, we have seen football. Tennis, I guess, is a natural progression from ping pong.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got you get a licensed game maybe with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal in there as well. That'd be quite cool. Yeah, I mean, I maybe even a future NBA game, maybe a basketball game. I mean,
yeah, a proper one. We've got that experience now. But if we've got this football game as well out. So if they can do football, I'm sure they can do proper basketball as well.
Yeah, I feel like if you can bring football to VR, you can pretty much bring everything to VR.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure I would relish rugby in VR because, that could be quite painful with a lot of the tackling that goes on.
Yeah, running headfirst to the wall.
Yeah, you'd be running into the wall. I don't think that would do anyone any good. But I mean, it makes sense for the World Cup. I mean, the World Cup's going on now, so I mean that might be a nice tie-in. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a way for it to work. But I think the beauty of VR now, I think we've seen, perhaps when it first came out, people wondered, how is that going to work? How is that even possible? But now it's less about that and more like, what can't we do in VR? And
yeah, definitely. They do some amazing things already, developers. So I'm assuming in future we're just gonna see better and better stuff.
Yeah, and you touched upon Borderlands 3 earlier. I mean, Borderlands 2 has actually been a fantastic success story on VR.
Yeah, it's a great game. I can't stop playing it.
And we've seen things like Skyrim as well, which people never thought would actually make the transition to VR, and the massive experiences. So it really is, the sky is the limit at the moment. I mean, who knows? Maybe we're playing FIFA on
possibly,
VR in next generation. Who knows? I mean,
I know. Yeah,
you get the full FIFA experience in VR. How incredible would that be? But I really do feel we're at a stage now. It's not so much what other sports could work. I think any sport could potentially work. In VR
I mean, they can make their own sport. If you play Spark, it's just like they pretty much designed their own sport from the beginning. It's a nice player versus player game. That makes you moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's nothing what you can play in real life outside, but it's like a VR sport, you could say.
Yeah.
So they might just invented something else as well eventually.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think the medium is at a stage where creativity can definitely flourish as well. Like you can actually, as you say, create new things that suit VR. I mean, there have been card battlers and things like that have appeared, which certainly in terms of the wider scope, the sky is the limit, as they say.
That's true. Yeah.
It's incredible, but definitely excited to see how things transition over the next generation and beyond. So yeah, very cool question. Thanks for that. And finally, Ghost in the Glass asks, what are some of your biggest inspirations? What keeps you motivated and where does that tenacity come from? Well, that's a good question. I mean, we know that VR is very hard for developers to make money. It's still at its infancy stage. And we know that a lot of the reason you get VR projects is they're very much passion projects to give developers opportunities to increase their reach and sales potential. But I guess the more success they have, the better their next games can be, and we really want to kind of help with that. I think that's what drives us to kind of like help developers achieve their full potential in VR, so to speak. And passion can only take a developer so far, and if we can help increase their revenues, then that passion puts resources that can eventually equal amazing games. Ultimately, we just want to play great games and to be able to help developers continue to make better and better games, and that's generally our motivation. I mean, what do you think? What would you say keeps you motivated to play VR, and where does that tenacity come from?
Yeah, I totally agree. Supporting developers definitely comes to the game when you do this channel, because even though I really enjoy it and it's awesome, my subscribers keep me going definitely, especially when I get some nice views. but regarding the developers and hurting them, not many people know what's going on behind the scenes, but it's like all of us who does PSVR YouTube channels, not only me, but Parole, Preacher, Will, whatever, GamerTag, we all trying to help as well. We never charge for any of our videos, like you got in bigger gaming channels. We just do it for free. We're gonna give some feedback. We're gonna try to help promote the game if it looks good. So yeah, it's all this community coming together. I think that's the main thing what keeps everyone going.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think a lot of the VR community has grown purely because of how supportive everyone wants to be to one another.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen that so much over the last year and a half. Like everyone is just really gelled together, and there's a real community spirit where perhaps, the gaming industry sometimes gets a bad reputation for communities not necessarily being, positive. But I really feel the VR industry lifts one another up, and it definitely, for us, as obviously we play a very small part in the bigger picture, but from what we've seen and what we've been able to help with, we think that's a massive motivation for us, absolutely. And I think as Paul's really touched upon it really well there, and just to say that everyone is just trying to do their part to make sure that VR is a success.
Yeah, everyone trying to help.
Yeah, so it's really, really cool, and I think that's the exciting thing for the future for us, is that we hope that community stays in place. We hope we can continue to be a part of that community, and likewise we hope creators like Paul and GamerTag and Parole and Preacher and others who you've mentioned just continue to support the channel, and the more they do, who knows where VR can go. But as you've seen fantastic growth, so it works. It is working.
Oh yeah, you can see it. You can even see it like by subscribers count on your channels, and that when Sony does sell for PSVR headsets and they cheaper like Bank Holiday, I can tell that they sell loads, because suddenly I'm gonna get like loads and loads more subscribers on that day when the sale been going on. So yeah, it's good to observe as well how it's all going. Yeah,
absolutely. And obviously Black Friday is around the corner, so if you haven't got a VR headset,
Oh yeah, I hear there's gonna be good sales, especially in US.
Yeah, some great sales. They have some fantastic sales over Black Friday, so that might be a really good time to get yourself a VR headset.
Yeah, it's always a good time to get VR.
It's always a good time, definitely. Well, I think that is going to do us for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in yet again. We hope you enjoyed this latest edition of the PerpCast. A massive, massive thank you to our special guest, Polish Paul, for joining us here today. Thank you for taking the time, because I know you're really busy with your new house and everything that you've got going on. So tell everyone where they can find you, Paul.
Well, they can find me on my channel, Polish Paul VR. Just type in YouTube. I am on Twitter as well, and that's same at Polish Paul VR. Come and hang around and let's chat some PSVR stuff.
Definitely. Make sure you find some time to enter the village, because that's a fantastic village you've got going on there, mate.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more like a city these days, right?
It is, yeah. It's growing fast, but we keep it as a huge village now.
A very big village.
So it's gonna be a village.
It's a very busy village.
Just a big, yeah. Yeah.
So if you want your questions answered during a future show, reply in the comment section below, or send us a message on your preferred social platform, and we'll do our best to answer them. You could even win yourself some really cool Perp-related goodies, so stay tuned for that. What would you like to see in future Perpcasts? Sound up below in the comment sections. We're looking to make this a show that's as informative and interesting to you as possible. You can find Perp Games on Facebook, Facebook. You can tweet us at Perp Games. Subscribe on YouTube using the link in the description below. And you can also find us on Discord, Instagram, LinkedIn, and get all the latest news on our products on perpgames.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
And that's it. Bye.